Hi guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Fiza and today I am going to discuss about the states of matter. Before going to know about the states of matter, we should know that what is matter. Matter is basically any substance that has mass and takes up space by having volume. Mass is the amount of matter in a substance or object that is commonly measured with a balance, whereas volume is the amount of space something occupies. All the different objects that can be touched are ultimately composed of atoms, which are made up of interacting subatomic particles. And matter generally includes atoms and anything made up of them. It also includes particles that contain mass and volume. The only things that are not matter are the forms of energy, such as light and sound. Although forms of energy are not matter, but the medium through which they travel, like the air, they are the matter. Matter should not be confused with mass, as the two are not the same in physics. Matter is a general term describing any physical substance. In contrast, mass is not a substance, but rather it is a quantitative property of matter and other substances. Now let's talk about the properties of matter. Matter has many properties. Some are physical properties and some are the chemical ones. Physical properties of matter are the properties that can be measured or observed without matter changing to a different substance. For example, water is a liquid at room temperature, but if it freezes and changes to ice, it is still water. Physical properties can be extensive or intensive. Extensive properties vary with the amount of substance and include mass, weight, and volume. On the other hand, intensive properties do not depend on the amount of substance, and they include color, melting point, boiling point, electrical conductivity, and temperature. For example, element sulfur is a yellow crystalline solid that does not conduct electricity and has a melting point of 115.2 degrees centigrade, no matter what amount is examined. Physical properties also include the state of matter and its color and odor. For example, oxygen is a colorless, odorless gas. Chlorine is a greenish gas with a strong, sharp odor. Other physical properties include hardness, freezing, and boiling points, the ability to dissolve in other substances, and the ability to conduct heat or electricity. Density is also an important physical property of matter. It reflects how closely packed the particles of matter are. Similarly, length and opacity, they are also the other physical properties of a matter. Now let's come to the chemical properties of matter. Some properties of matter can be measured or observed only when matter undergoes a change to become an entirely different substance. These properties are termed as chemical properties. For example, flammability and reactivity. Flammability is the ability of a matter to burn. That is, wood is flammable, iron is not. When wood burns, it changes to ashes, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other gases. After burning, it is no longer wood. Reactivity is the ability of matter to combine chemically with other substances. For example, iron is highly reactive with oxygen. When it combines with oxygen, it forms the reddish powder called rust. Rust is not iron, but an entirely different substance that consists of both iron and oxygen. Toxicity is an example of the chemical property which tells us that how dangerous a chemical is to your health. We just can't tell by looking at a chemical whether it is toxic or not. It can only be observed and measured by exposing an organic system to this sample. The exposure causes a chemical reaction or set of reactions. The net result of the chemical changes is the toxicity. Acidity is the ability of a substance to react with an acid in a chemical property. Like some metals react with various acids to form compounds. Now come to the states of matter. A state of matter is one of the distinct forms that different phases of matter take on. 4 states of matter are observable in everyday life. That include solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Basically, the distinction is made based on qualitative differences in properties. It's all about the physical state and energy in the atoms and molecules. Solid, liquids, and gases each have their own characteristic properties. In order to explain how these properties come about, the kinetic molecular theory has been developed. We will discuss these states one by one. So first of all, it is solid. In solid, the particles are tightly packed together, usually in a regular array, and vibrate back and forth. This is the kinetic molecular theory of solids. According to this theory, all matter is made up of extremely small particles, which are in constant motion. Solids exhibit certain characteristics that distinguish them from liquids and gases. All solids have the ability to resist forces applied either perpendicular or parallel to the surface. Such properties depend on the properties of atoms that form the solid, on the way those atoms are arranged, and on the forces between them. As you can see in this picture how tightly the atoms of solids are arranged. They are tightly packed to each other and they are not free to move around. The constituents of solids can be arranged into two general ways. The first one is the crystalline solid and the other one is the amorphous solid. A crystalline solid is a material whose constituents are arranged in a highly ordered microscopic structure, forming a crystal lattice that extends in all directions. In addition, the single crystals are usually identified by their geometrical shape, consisting of flat faces with specific characteristic orientations. Amorphous solids have two characteristic properties. One is when they cleaved or broken, they produce fragments with irregular, often curved surfaces. And then they have poorly defined patterns when they are exposed to X-rays, because their components are not arranged in a regular way. As you can see over here, that the constituents are not arranged in a regular pattern. An amorphous translucent solid is called a glass. Now come to the liquid. It is one of the four fundamental states of matter, and it is the only state with a definite volume but no fixed shape. A liquid is made up of tiny vibrating particles of matter, such as atoms, that held together by intermolecular bonds. As you can see in this picture, the particles are still tightly packed, but as well as vibrating, they can move over and in between one another. According to the kinetic molecular theory, the particles that form a liquid are relatively close together, but not as close together as the particles in the corresponding solid. The particles in a liquid have more kinetic energy. As a result, the particles in a liquid move faster in terms of vibration, rotation, and translation. Because they are moving faster, the particles in the liquid occupy more space, and the liquid is less dense than the corresponding solid. The most obvious properties of a liquid are its retention of volume and its conformation to the shape of its container. When a liquid substance is poured into a vessel, it takes the shape of a vessel, and as long as this substance stays in the liquid, it will remain inside the vessel. Similarly, when a liquid is poured from one vessel to another, it retains its volume but not its shape. So these properties serve as criteria for distinguishing the liquid state from the solid and gaseous states. Now let's talk about the gas. Gas is a state of matter that has no fixed shape and no fixed volume. Gases have lower density than the other states of matter such as solids and liquids. A gas is a compressible fluid. Not only will a gas conform to the shape of its container, but it will also expand to fill the container. As you can see in this picture, that the molecules have enough kinetic energy so that the effect of intermolecular forces is small, and the typical distance between neighboring molecules is much greater than the molecular size. Gas particles are basically widely separated from one another and have weaker intermolecular bonds than liquids or solids. These intermolecular forces result from electrostatic interactions between gas particles. The fourth state of matter is plasma. Plasma is often called the fourth state of matter along with solid, liquid, and gas. Just as liquid will boil, changing into a gas when energy is added, heating a gas will form a plasma. That is basically an ionized gas composed of positive and negative charged particles. Like gases, plasma has an indefinite shape and an indefinite volume. Plasma is a superheated matter, so hot that the electrons are ripped away from the atoms, forming an ionized gas. It comprises over 99% of the visible universe. In the night, plasma glows in the form of stars. The branch of lightning that cracks the sky is also a plasma. So are the neon signs along our city streets. And so is our sun, the star that makes life on Earth possible. Plasma is different from gas because it is made up of groups of positive and negative charged particles. In a neon gas, the electrons are all bound to the nucleus, whereas in neon plasma, the electrons are free to move around the system. As you can see in this picture, that these are the charged particles, like positive and the negative charged particles. So this is the conformation of plasma. For example, if you think about the fluorescent light bulbs, they are not like regular light bulbs. Inside the long tube is a gas. Electricity flows through the tube when the light is turned on. The electricity acts as an energy source and charges up the gas. This charging and exciting of the atom creates glowing plasma inside the bulb. The electricity helps to strip the gas molecules of their electrons. Let's have a look on phase transition. A change of state is a physical change in a matter. They are reversible changes and do not involve any changes in the chemical makeup of the matter. When temperature or pressure change of a system occurs, phase changes also occur. When the temperature or pressure increases, the interaction between the molecules increases. Similarly, when the temperature decreases, it is easier for molecules and atoms to settle into a more rigid structure. Let's talk about the phase transition between solids and liquids. First of all, we will see that what is melting. Melting or fusion is a physical process that results in the phase transition of a substance from a solid to a liquid. This occurs when the internal energy of the solid increases, typically by the application of heat or pressure, which increases the substance temperature to the melting point. For example, if we took out the ice cubes from the freezer and placed them in a warm room, the ice would absorb energy from the warmer air around them. This absorbed energy would facilitate them to overcome the force of attraction, holding them together. So it enables them to split out of the fixed position that they held as ice. The next one is freezing. That is a phase transition where a liquid turns into a solid when its temperature is lowered below its freezing point. Freezing means the solidification phase change of a liquid or the liquid content of a substance, usually due to cooling. For example, heat transfer occurs between the warmer tray and the colder air in the freezer. The warm water loses heat to the cold air in the freezer. This heat transfer occurs until no energy is available for the particles to slide past each other. This forces them to remain in fixed positions, locked in a place by the force of attraction between them. This way, liquid water is changed into ice. The temperature at which it occurs is known as the freezing point. Now come to the phase transition between liquids and gases. First of all, we will talk about the vaporization. Vaporization of an element or a compound is a phase transition from liquid phase to vapor. There are two types of vaporization: evaporation and boiling. Evaporation is the surface phenomena, whereas boiling is a bulk phenomena. For example, if the water is hot enough, it starts to boil. Bubbles of water vapor are formed in the boiling water. This happens as particles of liquid water gain enough energy to completely overcome the force of attraction between them and change to the gaseous state. The bubbles rise through the water and escape from pot as steam. The process in which a liquid boils and changes to a gas is called vaporization, and the temperature at which a liquid boils is termed as its boiling point. The next one is condensation. Condensation is the process where water vapor becomes liquid. It is the reverse of evaporation, where liquid water becomes a vapor. Condensation happens one of the two ways. Either the air is cooled to its dew point, or it becomes so saturated with water vapor that it cannot hold any more water. For example, when we take a hot shower in a closed bathroom, the mirror is likely to fog up. We may wonder, why does this happen? It is because some hot water from the shower evaporates, and when it comes in contact with the cooler surfaces such as the mirror, it cools and loses energy. The cooler water particles no longer have the energy to overcome the forces of attraction between them. They come together and form droplets of liquid water. This process in which a gas changes to a liquid is known as condensation. Now let's talk about the phase transition between solids and gases. The first one is sublimation. The process in which solids directly change to gases is known as sublimation. This occurs when solids absorb enough energy to completely overcome the forces of attraction between them. Dry ice is an example of solids that undergo sublimation. For example, solid carbon dioxide, which is sometimes called as dry ice, goes straight from solid to gas at room temperature. On the other hand, deposition is the process by which molecules go directly from the gas phase into the solid phase. Deposition chemistry occurs when molecules settle out of the gas phase and into the solid phase. The most typical example of deposition would be the frost. Frost is the deposition of water vapor from humid air or air containing water vapor onto a solid surface. Solid frost is formed when a surface, for example a leaf, is at a temperature lower than the freezing point of water and the surrounding air is humid. Now come to the phase transition between gas and plasma. Ionization is the formation of plasma that can be made from a gas if a lot of energy is pushed into the gas. For example, in the case of neon, it is electrical energy that pulls the electrons off. When it is the time to become a gas again, it just flips the neon light switch off. Without the electricity to energize the atoms, the neon plasma returns to its gaseous state. This is known as deionization, which is the removal of all the positive and negative ions from the matter. That was all. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to press the bell icon and subscribe our channel. Thank you.